All right, going live now.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the Westfield Redevelopment Commission for May 20th at 6:11 p.m. First order is quorum. David, if you can take roll, please.
Joe Plankis,
Here.
John Dart,
Here.
Brian Tolomichael,
Here.
Larry Kemper,
Here.
Brian Pulowski.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Thank you very much. Next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. Next order of business is approval of the minutes from April 15th, 2024. Do we have any questions or comments on the minutes? If not, I'm open for a motion for approval.
Motion to approve the minutes from April 15, 2024.
Motion for approval from John Dart. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Brian Tolomichael. Thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Joe Plankis,
Yes?
John Dart,
Yes.
Brian Tolomichael,
Yes.
Larry Kemper,
Yes.
Brian Pulowski.
Just a reminder, if I wasn't here for that meeting, I'll abstain.
Okay. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of the RDC Executive Session Memorandum. Any questions on that? Okay, hearing none, open for a motion for approval. I'll move that we approve the Executive Session Memorandum. Do I have
I'll
a
second.
Second?
The executive
John Dart?
session memorandum.
Okay, thank you. Second by John Dart. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Joe
Brian?
Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Tolomichael,
Yes.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Abstain.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item are financial matters. We have two reports from the clerk treasurer. I did speak to Marla about it today, and there is a change that she made on the April notes on the box at the bottom, where some payments have been made, so the balance has dropped. But we've gotten some pretty good interest on it. We're up to $277,000 since we started investing with Goldman Sachs, so that's an excellent return on taxpayers' funds. Does anyone have any questions, or do we have any discussions? Janelle, anything that you want to add?
I don't have anything specifically to add to Marla's report here, but I do want to mention that part of the reason that the number went down for the investment balance is that some of that investment dollar allocation was put into the TIF areas when a grant was made to the CDC last month. So that
Right.
accounts for a large portion
Good
of
point.
that transfer. Mhm.
Okay. Do we need to make any motion on this, Ryan? Approve the report. Okay. Okay. Do I have a motion for approving the March and April financial fund summary and of cash balance?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Motion to approve by Brian.
I'll second
John Dart.
motion to approve the clerk treasurer's monthly March
Okay.
report.
We have a motion, and all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Brian?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Tolomichael.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Okay, motion passes. Next item on the agenda are claims for May 20th. Any questions on the claims or any changes that anyone cares to make? Okay, seeing none, I'm open for a motion for approval of claims for May.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Brian Tolomichael. I'll second the motion.
Is the other Brian? Actually, the other Brian.
Oh, other Brian, I'm sorry. Brian Pulowski.
Yep.
Okay. I'll second that motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David?
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Michael.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Aye.
We're separating you two next time.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. Matt Trinian, our monthly contract man.
Good evening, Commission members. Matt Trinian on behalf of Grand Park Sports Campus. Before you this evening are 30 total agreements up for ratification, 15 standard use agreements, 9 addendums, and 6 sponsorship agreements. No significant questions, just some clarification over the course of the last few days, but happy to answer any questions you guys may have at this point.
Okay, any
Seems
questions?
Quite a few addendums. What took place there? I mean,
Yeah,
more than normal. It seemed like.
well, this time is really busy because we have a lot of league games that get played, and whether it be weather or just the addition of we're going to move a game from XYZ Park, not in Westfield, to Grand Park, we always add those in so that they fall under our agreements. So a lot of that is addition to events or to league games. They're all additions to. So it's all good business. But yeah, it's very fluid this time of year, just given the amount of games that need rescheduled. And so we want to document those, and so that's why those addendums are there.
And then, what's driving the increase in sponsorships? Seemed like there was more activity there as well. Is there a different strategy, or is it just the time of the year where that happens?
Yeah, a good portion of those are activation sponsors, so they want to come to events and activate on behalf of their brand at events. And so right now we're seeing a lot of uptick in events. And then I think you're seeing a lot of interest peak with the new influx of events coming in. So a combination of those efforts and a strong push from our sponsorship lead to continue those efforts.
Thank you.
Okay, good question, Sean. Thank you. Okay, if no one has any other questions, I'm open for a motion for approval of the Grand Park agreement.
Motion to approve Grand Park agreements.
Okay, John Dart for motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Brian Michael, thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. David? Yes?
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Michael.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Okay, motion
Thank you.
carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt. Executive Director's Report. Janelle?
Thank you. I'm going to do a fairly brief report today, and I don't have any visuals to share, so no PowerPoint presentation. But I did want to give you an update on some grant applications. The first is Ready 2.0, which is an IEDC grant. We are part of CERTA, which is the Central Indiana Redevelopment Authority, and CERTA was granted $45 million to distribute among its members, which I think is currently 28 municipalities as of this month. And we have all submitted last week our applications for the Ready Grant, and we've submitted a development at Westfield Boulevard and Midland Trace Trail, which would include a mixed-use development with multifamily, retail, a hotel, office, parking garage, and some site improvements, including drainage improvements. And the idea is that we would also be improving a patio or plaza type paseo, something to connect Midland Trace Trail up to Park Street, and include some Park Street streetscape improvements. So we have submitted not only for the Ready, but there is a partnership with the Lilly Endowment, where they are also putting $250 million in towards projects across the state. And they have an arts and culture category, and then they also have a blight reduction category. So we have submitted that also as an LEI grant opportunity. I don't anticipate that we would get Ready funds and LEI funds, but I'm hopeful that we would be able to get one or the other to help make some of these streetscape improvements and the plaza improvements happen at that project. In addition, last week, I attended the City Nation Place conference with 22 representatives of Hamilton County, including Hamilton County Tourism, a couple of county commissioners, representatives from all 4 cities, and some nonprofits. And I had an opportunity to talk about Westfield and some recent studies that were done by Hunden Partners in association with Hamilton County Tourism, a grant that they had provided to Westfield for that study to be completed. Was a really great trip, had a great opportunity to get to know the Hamilton County Tourism contingent as well as the county commissioners a bit better. The reason I mention this at this time, and in particular the timing of that trip and the timing of our next grant opportunity are well aligned. So there is a BEST fund, which is the Business of Entertainment and Sports Tourism, which is an investment fund that Hamilton County Tourism oversees. There will be hotel taxes that are allocated towards the 4 cities and then to the rest of the county to help promote projects that advance tourism efforts. And we'll be working, my staff will be working on an application for a grant for the BEST fund as well. Still working on what that application is going to be, but that will be submitted sometime in June. But we do have a better idea of what they're looking for. In addition to the grant applications, I have a couple of updates on studies that we have underway. A couple months ago, we, through the Economic Development Department, not through Redevelopment Department, had engaged a group called Spec Dempsey to do a study of the Newbie area. So this would be surrounding the Simon Moon Park and the new Newbie parcel that was acquired, which will likely be an agricultural park, just to make sure that we understand what the opportunities are for development surrounding that area. So process on that right now, we have approved the proposal, and we have engaged V3 to do survey on those parcels. The Parks Department has also brought in a group to do a tree survey so that we can preserve the biggest and best of the trees and have a better understanding of invasive species and whether there are some that should be removed in that plan. We also have requested proposals for a Grand Park Area Master Plan. This would be an area focused immediately south of the event center, looking for an overall vision of how that area would be developed as Grand Park and the surrounding area becomes more developed as economic development comes to that area, and we focus more on family entertainment and tourism. So we are in the proposal stage on that right now, hoping to have something to you all next month to study together. And then just a brief update on the comprehensive plan that is being run by the Community Development Department. They do have proposals which we received last month, and their department and ours are reviewing. Hope to have someone from Public Works also taking a look at that, and hopefully by next month know what team we're working through that comprehensive planning process with in the future. The other major update that I have, I know we talked last month about abatements. Kai Chuck here in our office is here tonight. He had presented at the May 13th City Council meeting the report on abatements, and the resolution to approve that reporting was that was approved by City Council. Councilor Dart or Kai, I don't know if either one of you have anything else to add regarding the abatements. No? All right. And that's all I have to report today.
So what is an agricultural park?
Oh, that is still being defined, and Chris McConnell will have to define it further. There were some concepts that they had brought to a town hall meeting. It was probably February, and one of the concepts is you have community gardens where people can plant, or there could be more of like a partnership with, it could be Purdue or it could be the schools where there are certain crops that are being planted and you study them. People that can come and pick produce. I know there is a concept out in Fishers that has been very popular. Brian looks like maybe he knows more about it than I do. Maybe you could add a little bit.
Yeah, I used to live right by that park, but it would basically different community groups would plan it. You would have you pick times that you could go out. I know Fishers also did a produce box with some of their community members as well that you could, I mean, it was popular enough you had to enter a lottery to get it. But they would deliver the produce to you, so you had fresh local produce all the time as well. So it was super popular, a great place to take kids. Just it was a different setting to get kids out of the kind of traditional playground type park and just into a park where they can get out and see nature.
That's just one of the considerations at this point, though.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I didn't think it had progressed to the point where.
I don't think there are any plans underway yet, but I would have to get back to you. Check with Chris McConnell on that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Your fire hose hasn't gotten any smaller, Janelle.
No, it has not.
just a couple. Carmel used to have an excellent community garden that was just off of the 136th Street area. We had opportunity to go up to Naperville at one time, and they had a beautiful setup for a community garden close to downtown Naperville in a park. And I've got some information at home on that, so if anybody would like to take a look at it, I can provide it.
Yeah, Chris might be interested in knowing more.
I'll get a hold of Chris.
All right, thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, we have no old business. We have a number of items, action items under new business. Action item number 1 is Resolution 11-2024, amendments to declaratory resolution and economic development plan for the Grand Junction EDA. I guess Janelle will turn that one over to you first.
So we have 2 separate EDAs that we are going to be discussing today. And as we started to look at our EDA and our TIF allocation area maps this year, we realized that we had a number of gaps in them and that we needed to bring the areas that we are targeting as redevelopment, economic development areas back into the EDAs, and that we needed to fix some of the boundaries of them in order to prepare us for the future, because we have some potential projects that were divided. They were actually partially in one EDA and partially in a second EDA. So David Brock, sitting here taking role for us tonight, has been very instrumental in helping us put together these lists of parcel IDs and the maps. He's becoming a little bit more familiar with GIS and GIS layers, which I'm extremely grateful for. And then we've been working with Barnes and Thornburg on putting together these declaratory resolutions. So this first declaratory resolution, well, both of them, the process of this is that the EDAs, and in this case for Grand Junction, TIF allocation areas, are brought to you. This is a declaratory resolution. They will also need to be presented to Plan Commission and to City Council, approved at both of those, and then they will come back to the RDC to be confirmed. So again, 4-step process. We are amending the outlines of the EDA, and then in Grand Junction, we are creating a new allocation area within the EDA as a sub-allocation area. So a very long list. I'm not going to read them all to you. 2 pages worth of parcels. Oh, 3. Keep going. 4. It goes on forever. 4 pages of allocation area changes. So Grand Junction, this is the map of the overall Grand Junction Westfield EDA. And the existing limits of the EDA are shown in orange, and the additions are shown in green. We do have enlarged maps I'll go to here in just a moment. Some of these additions are infill. They're very small parcels which had been omitted from the EDA previously. Some of them are residential. Some of them are leftover. Maybe the parcel limits had changed, just various things that had caused these gaps to occur. The areas east of US 31 are included in the limits that we are planning to study in more depth with the comprehensive plan and then with downtown redevelopment plans. And so we wanted to make sure that as we're focusing on economic development for these regions, that we are capturing these in the economic development areas so that we can incentivize them and they can be part of our overall plan. So we also have certain parcels that are being removed from the allocation area, and the map of those areas, let me see if I can find that. Where's the removal map? Here we go. These are the parcels that are being removed from the allocation area. The pieces that you see on the upper right portion of the map are parcels that are currently owned by the city of Westfield, and they are included in the Grand Junction Plaza. They are not creating any tax increment. They are negatively hurting our base value, and we are removing them so that there's not going to be any economic development occurring on those parcels, so they're being removed. We're also removing, so those are here, this area. We're also removing the Midland Trace Trail, and we're removing this parcel right here from the Grand Junction EDA, as well as this parcel here, which has detention on it. When we move into our next EDA, which is the east side, you'll see what's happening with these parcels in this area here in the center and here over on the left, but they will be part of future developments that are included in the east side. So those are the parcels that will be removed. I think that's all of them. Let me see if I've missed any maps.
They're being removed now, but being added back in underneath?
They will be moved into a different EDA. So we will do that one immediately after this Grand Junction EDA. We are also creating a new allocation area in the Grand Junction EDA. So this is a separate allocation area that would be used as redevelopment happens in this area, bounded by Jersey Street, Mill Street, Park Street, and Poplar Street, which is also Westfield Boulevard. This block, we are currently incentivizing one project here. This is the H Steakhouse project. The city currently owns this parcel right here. We have voted to grant that to the CDC so that it can be incorporated into a development with Mill. We voted on that last month. We also have opportunities to provide parking for these residents or for these businesses. We have already completed a parking study, which was done by LVR International. We've determined that we need approximately 200, let's say 180 to 200 additional parking spaces in the downtown to support the existing businesses and the anticipated businesses in this area, restaurants, shops. And so increment generated from this allocation area can be applied towards the building of those new parking spaces within structured parking, or they could also be used for other public improvements such as streetscapes or drainage improvements and other public improvements. So this is the new allocation area. I think I've gotten through the meat of the changes on this EDA. This plan supplement just generally goes through the plans that we have within this EDA, which I've just described, adding some additional parking in 2 parking garages that we are currently negotiating with 2 developers. We approximately have 90 to 100 parking spaces in each of those parking garages, and then we could have some additional site improvements, trail, sidewalk, and otherwise. We do have representative from Barnes and Thornburg here to answer any questions about EDAs. Rick, I've forgotten your last name. Rich Starkey. So
Richard Starkey with law firm of Barnes and Thornburg. The only other thing I would
you're on. You're good.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is, maybe it's not obvious, is that the reason we create separate allocation areas within an economic development area is that when we create the economic development areas, we say we're going to do economic development in that big area, but it's only in the allocation area that we collect the TIF. And so that's why we're specifically carving out some areas here that will collect TIF to help incentivize businesses, et cetera, or have the opportunity to do so.
Thank you.
Okay. The one question I have, you mentioned a parking study has been completed. Is that something that maybe can be done as a presentation in a future RDC meeting?
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
That'd be great. Then I think get the full picture, because right now it's a little disjointed in my mind.
Yes.
As to where we're going to put things.
Yes, and as we come to you with specific redevelopment proposals, as we have projects that we're ready to present for approval, we'll present that each time so that you understand how that's being impacted. Thank you.
Very good.
Hey, Janelle, can you go to page 11? It's the main map. I just have a question about 2 kind of areas. First one, kind of that Newbie Court housing addition area on the north side, and then the kind of, I'll just call them the older homes north of Union Flats apartment. When we look at the study that the city's going to go through, do you see those 2 areas becoming commercial long term and having, I mean, I guess I'm just looking at, it feels like we're just filling in the holes on those areas, and I'm just curious where there's a plan to long term vision of where that's going to head.
Yeah, so the community development department is, once they get through the selection of their comp plan designer, they'll be selecting a planning team to do the study of these other quadrants of the downtown area. We anticipate there will be redevelopment in these areas, but there's no way to tell you today whether it will all be commercial. It could be townhomes, we could have office, we could have housing. I don't know the answer yet, but the study will begin most likely later this summer or early fall.
Any other questions for Janelle or Rick? No? Okay. Hearing none, let's look for a motion for approval on Resolution 11-2024.
Make a motion to approve.
Ryan Tomomichael. Did I get that
Pulaski.
right this time?
Nope.
And Brian Pulowski is the second. Thank you very much. David, please take the roll.
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Tomomichael.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulaski.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 12-2024, amendments to the Declaratory Resolution Economic Development Plan for Eastside EDA. And I don't know that we need any further discussion. I think Janelle covered it very well. So if there are no further questions.
If I could, I want to explain this one slightly different.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll explain the differences because this does not
That's
have an
right.
allocation area being added or amended. So this is the modification of the EDA only. This does not include any new TIF allocation areas. And I'll show you the map and explain why we're amending and then how we're amending. So in red is the existing east side allocation area, which is subdivided. There are actually two major areas and then one minor area. So there's this area here on the east, which we're not modifying. And there are a few parcels here on the north portion, which are, I don't know why they're there, but we're going to leave those alone. And then we have 3 additional areas, small areas that we're adding to this larger east side EDA. Here's your enlarged view. And this is probably the best one to explain what we're doing here. So these parcels in yellow were removed from the Grand Junction EDA, or will be once we have the confirmatory resolution.
Right.
These will be removed from the Grand Junction EDA, and they will be added to the east side EDA. And this parcel right here is anticipated to be joined with these other parcels in this area into a future development. However, we're not ready to create the allocation area yet because we anticipate that we're going to have some parcels that are broken off in this area, and then only some of them will be developed in the first phase of this project. So we're waiting to create the TIF allocation area until we're ready and we've done the parcel subdividing so that we know which parcels to put into the allocation area. And then we have a similar situation happening up here. This is the Midland Trace Trail right here. These 2 parcels and all of these parcels here are anticipated to be included in a single development. The 2 parcels to the north of the Midland Trace Trail are anticipated to be temporary surface parking, which we're working on with Public Works at the moment. And those would stay surface lots until we have parking available in the downtown area. And then our current plan is to hopefully draw a hotel into those 2 parcels, but they would all be part of the same allocation area in the future so that the parking for the hotel would be located south of the Midland Trace Trail immediately adjacent. So we will again come to you in the future with the allocation area for each of those projects. Just wanted to clarify what the difference was from the other EDA.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Janelle.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for Janelle in regards to this particular resolution? If not, I'm open for a motion for approval.
A motion to approve.
Okay, motion from Brian Pulowski. Second?
Second.
Okay, second. Was that you, John? Or no, Larry. Okay, sorry. We have a motion for approval. David, please take the roll.
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Tomomichael.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you very much. I think we have Heather up for the next one for bonds.
Hello again, everybody. Okay, so this is the final resolution before you with regard to this refunding. And this one is pretty short and sweet and to the point. We are simply approving the actual refunding that we've been discussing and the execution of the various bond documents related to the financing. We've been through the lease approval step, so now this is the bond approval step. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have on the resolution or where we go from here. It looks like we're going to have a bond sale probably in late June and close shortly thereafter. We'll close within 7 days of the bond sale, as required by the holder of the note that we're refunding. So once we get the ball rolling with regard to the sale, things will move pretty quickly, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
So
Any
does the,
questions for Heather?
Does the resolution 13-2024 also work together with this continuing disclosure undertaking certificate?
So yes, that certificate is something that is being approved by this resolution. If you look at section 4, it references that certificate as well as the trust indenture that I mentioned at the RDA meeting. And this certificate is just a standard certificate that alerts the bond market that once you close on the bonds, you're going to continue to provide the financial information on a go-forward basis for the life of the bonds, the audits and such that are referenced in the offering document. This is standard on every bond deal that is sold publicly.
So is this an agreement, though, that Robert Baird, the underwriter, will purchase the lease rental refunding bonds for $20 million?
So this is just a draft, right? This is a substantially final form of the draft, and it is an agreement that once the Baird folks sell these bonds publicly, that the city is going to provide the sort of financial information that's listed in this agreement to the bond purchaser on an ongoing basis while the bonds are still outstanding. So you'll note in there that there is a audit done by the State Board of Accounts that's required to be included. And again, this is the sort of information that you need to upload on every bond that is sold publicly.
But an agreement, I guess, an agreement with Baird has already been made?
No, this is the draft certificate, and this draft certificate is also referenced in the offering document that Baird uses to sell the bonds.
Okay.
So this is just another one of the documents that will be executed at closing.
Okay. And what's the review process for the I guess the sale of the bond? I mean, is this an RFP process?
No, so the Baird has been engaged as the underwriter for the bond, and they put together what we call a preliminary official statement. They go to the rating agency, S&P in this instance, and show them the draft of the POS, and they look at it and look at all of the underlying financials of the city. We've had a due diligence call with the rating agent and with Bondry and the Baird folks to walk through any questions that they had about the city, about the security for the bonds, about the lease. That call went very well, and they feel comfortable. So once we get that rating back from S&P, and we're in a little bit of a limbo because we're waiting on an audit from State Board of Accounts. So we'll get that audit from State Board of Accounts. We'll get the rating from S&P, and then the Baird team will actually negotiate this sale with potential bond purchasers. And once the bond sale occurs, then we'll have final numbers, and we'll be able to plug that into this document, the trust indenture, all of the other bond documents, and then close 7 days thereafter. So that preliminary offering document is something that the city has been closely reviewing while the Baird team puts that together so that they can use it to market the bonds.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And just for a matter of information, the State Board of Accounts meeting I was at earlier, they plan to try to finish up their work by June 10th.
Perfect.
So that should be within the time frame, Heather, that we need to get these bonds sold without any pressure, so to speak.
Yeah, that should work out just fine.
Yeah.
Is Boundary acting as FA on this?
Bondry is the municipal advisor, yes.
So, John, to your point, Boundary is acting as fiduciary in this relationship. So when they get it back, Oscar will review it with the city to determine that it's the best deal for the city before it's finally closed.
That's right.
Wait, thank you, Brian. Okay, any other questions for Heather or Oscar? Okay, seeing none, I'm open for motion for approval of Resolution 13-2024.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Brian Michael, motion to approve.
Second.
Brian Pawlowski, second. David, please take the roll.
Joe Plankis,
Aye.
John Dart.
Aye.
Brian Tolman-Michael.
Aye.
Larry Kemper.
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Heather. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 14-2024 TIF pass-throughs.
Thank you, Mr. President. This resolution is regarding pass-throughs in a couple of our TIF areas. And I'm going to ask Oscar if he'll come up and present on this because he actually put the report together.
Thank you, Janelle. For the record, Oscar Gutierrez, Boundary Consulting, Municipal Advisor to the Redevelopment Commission. With me is also Alex Stanley remotely. This is a statutory requirement that should a redevelopment commission choose to pass through any of their either increment in the form of a percent monetary amount to the other units, it has to be done prior to June 15. Historically, the Redevelopment Commission has undertaken this specific transaction that historically, and I'll have Alex jump in on what the two parcels are. I believe is Taco Bell and liquor store.
21st Amendment.
21st Amendment. Thank you.
Yep.
So those two transactions, the increment has been historically the same. And Alex, if I say any numbers wrong here, please jump in. The pass-through is for $1.8 million. $1,808,600 is the exact number. That will be passed through to the other overlapping units, meaning the county, the library, the township, and the school. I believe when this all predates everybody on this team, but it was primarily to ensure that the schools and the library were minimally unaffected. So the schools are roughly going to be the beneficiary of this by, what was the percent that you said, Alex? Is it 50?
It's about 55% of the total tax rate.
So the schools will get roughly half of the collected taxes minus the referendum that also goes to them for this. So it's something that historically has been done. We have no objection to this. It has a minimal impact to the RDC, and with your approval, we'll file this for the pass-through.
John, you had some questions.
Yeah, the question that I had was, there's supporting documents here for, so the one that you're looking at right now is for the east side allocation area of $1.2 million. There's the letter that states for the Grand Junction allocation, which is $572,000. That's the first one, right here. But as you look at the next page down, that talks about all of the other allocation areas, and there's no dollar amount.
There's no other pass-through coming out of those allocations. We're just listing all the allocation areas. Historically, there has been a detailed report of all the allocation areas in the previous resolution, so we just wanted to be somewhat consistent with listing everything. So the only two actions will be for the two allocation areas listed on there. Everything else will not have any pass-through. And if you wanted to, as part of your approval, stating that those are the only two that will be passing through for the amount, I think it's stated there, but
So the Grand Junction allocation area and East Side are the only two that'll be passing anything through. Everybody else contributes zero, so to speak.
That's the intent.
I guess the question is that clearly stated then within this.
You're saying that the second letter, John, is...
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, that's
yeah.
So that is for the Alex, and please jump in here on this is for the 200% piece, correct?
No, this is not the 200% test. This is just the commission determining that they're not passing through from these areas.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Answer your question?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, good. Excellent. Okay. Are there any other questions for Oscar or Janelle on this item? If not, open for a motion for approval of Resolution 14-2024.
Make a motion to approve.
Brian Tomomichael for motion.
Second.
Brian Pawlowski for a second. David, please take the roll.
Joe Plankus,
Aye.
John Dart,
Aye.
Brian Tomomichael,
Aye.
Larry Kemper,
Aye.
Brian Pulowski.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, Oscar. Just as that concludes our new business, the only other business is just a reminder for our next meeting, which will be Monday, June 17th at 6 p.m. David will be sending out the calendar for the executive sessions. We'll get that covered. Any other items for discussion? Seeing none, I'm open for a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Brian. Motion to adjourn. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Voice vote. Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll stay put.